Have a company you'd like Matt to feature on the School Zone podcast? Have a fundraising question you'd love to get answered? Send a voice message to Matt. We would love to hear from you. Visit schoolzonepodcast.com and click on the Ask Matt a Question button on the bottom right of the page. Simply record, listen, and send. It's that easy. Ask Matt a Question on schoolzonepodcast.com. This interview was recorded live at the 2016 Texas PTA Conference in San Antonio, Texas. Now, here's Matt.
Hey, School Zone podcast listeners, Matt coming at you. San Antonio, Texas yet today at the Texas PTA Summer Leadership Seminar, and excited to have Chris Sides on for this segment. Chris works with the company Joe W. Fly, and kind of something a little bit different, but I'm excited about talking about what they do with him and sharing their company and that with you guys. So, Chris, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I understand you got your family down here, so I bet you're about ready to get off the trade show floor and have a little family time in San Antonio.
Yes, for sure.
How big a family? How many kids? All that?
I got two daughters, 12 and 11.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're going to have some time afterwards, or you got to head back up north when you're done?
We'll stay tonight, and then we'll head back in the morning.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So give me a little background on you and a little background on Joe W. Fly.
Okay. Well, I joined Joe W. Fly about 2 years ago, and the company was founded in '67. It's really built around indoor air quality. The company was we're on our third generation of the company, and I was in consumer product development marketing for 15 years, primarily in the pet industry. And in 2010, my dad invented a system called eMist Innovations, and we developed that technology coming out of the farm ag industry, and it was developed based on the fact that H1N1 was attacking schools, and we were seeing schools shut down because of the infectious disease. It was, becoming such a problem in our school systems. And small town in Goldthwaite, Texas, the technology was developed there. That's where the idea came from. The superintendent and the head football coach called, and they were having some staff issues, but they were also, the school there was on waivers and was about to close because of H1N1. And so he used this technology, was first used there. And then here we sit 6 years later, and now the technology is really spreading and going worldwide as well as national. But Joe W. Fly Company is the distributor in the state of Texas for the technology.
Awesome. So talk a little bit more about the technology, how it works, and why it matters to schools.
School districts.
Yeah.
Well, schools are a breeding ground for germs. I mean, we've got pathogens coming in our schools every day. And the fact of the matter is we can't see those pathogens. And when they come in, they have no boundary. They go wherever they want to. And our custodians are tasked with the job of cleaning those surfaces and disinfecting those surfaces. And that's a lot of surfaces and a lot of touch points, millions in a school, as you can imagine on a campus. And so what needs to be required is we need to be able to put that solution that we know, the agents or chemicals that we know work for disinfection on the surfaces and allow them to meet their performance claims that the EPA shows. And so the chemical industry has been way, way ahead of the application industry. So the technology was really needed, and we call this the gap in the industry, and that is, how do we take that chemical or that agent, whether it be an antimicrobial, deodorizer, sanitizer, how do we put that on a surface and allow it to meet its advertised performance claim? And that's where eMist Innovations came from. So what we're using, the E in the MIST is the key, and E stands for electrostatics. And so the electrostatics is a physics phenomenon, been around a long time, used in agricultural as well as in automotive industry for painting and powder coating and those kind of things. Well, it creates this super attraction. So we're able to precisely apply these agents within our schools very uniformly very efficiently and very effectively, allowing these chemicals to meet their advertised performance claims. So the technology will, for example, treat a school at a tune of about 80,000 square foot an hour. So if we can treat a school at that rate with only 1 gallon of chemical, we've got a very efficient method of application. And so now that we have the application, now we've got these great products. So now we're talking about how do we become touchpoint healthy, because that's what we're striving to become. And so touchpoint healthy it was born out of the technology. So without the technology, touchpoint healthy is really not possible to make all these services touchpoint healthy, because we can treat a classroom in about 3 minutes, which might take a custodian 15 or 20 minutes, and they're only going to cover at best 15% of the touchpoint surfaces in that room. We're going to cover close to 95% of those surfaces, high touchpoint surfaces in that room. So therefore, with pathogens not having any boundaries, we need to be as frequent as possible. So with touchpoint healthy, the 5 pillars of disinfection was born. Those 5 pillars being frequency. How often are we disinfecting the schools? In the past, we haven't been able to do it very often. We like to think we are, but mostly what we're doing is cleaning. Cleaning is removing dirt. That's a visible action. Disinfection is destroying germs. That's invisible. Those two things are different. So the days of one-step cleaner disinfection are over. And so the industry is now split back apart and said, we need to clean for visible, and we need to disinfect for invisible. So how do we disinfect once we get the surfaces clean? And that's where EMIS technology.
So then how does the school utilize you guys?
So we're not a service company. So what we do is we are providing the technology to the schools. We're providing the technology, the best practices, the training on how to use the technology properly within their schools, as well as the expertise that we bring, not only for schools, but because the market's so big, we have best practices from healthcare, we have best practices from school districts, we have best practices from universities, we have best practices from all sorts, janitorial service companies, those kind of things. So we see a lot, right? And so we share that expertise with our customers so that, especially school districts, so we can protect these kids and get our attendance rates up. Because that's really how this is really all about, right? We're trying to create a healthier environment. Yes, clean environment's important, but not as important as the healthier environment. And they go hand in hand. Right now, we're doing the best we can to create a clean environment. We're really struggling with the health side of it.
So the equipment, what is something like that? I'm having a challenge envisioning. Mm-hmm. I know you've got all that sure. at your booth and all that. Right. So kind of describe how that works, what happens within a classroom or within a building.
So imagine a lot of people look at the technology and go, wow, this looks like Ghostbusters just arrived. And actually, that's kind of what it looks like. The system is a backpack system, so it's very mobile, it's cordless. There's no cords coming out. We can't be tied to an electrical outlet when we're treating these schools. It's very quiet. So we got classes going on during the day and things. We can't have air compressors, for example, going down the hallways, and we can't be dragging extension cords everywhere. So that's the two big things that's really separated us and made the technology very mobile. And so with the mobility of the technology, we're able to reduce those labor rates. And, because they can go in, like I said, in an hour and treat 80,000 square foot. Well, most schools are in your elementary, middle school range are anywhere from 80 to 120, sometimes a little bigger, up to 150,000 square feet. So you're talking a matter of a couple of hours a day. You could disinfect the school every day if you chose to.
Wow. That's crazy.
So if you're able to disinfect schools every day, how many kids are you going to prevent from being absent that day?
Right.
And so we like to ask, do you think we'll get one? And most people will say, oh, no question, right?
Right.
No question.
So my guess is this is a huge paradigm shift.
Big time.
So how long have you guys been doing this a few years, right?
The first time anybody saw this technology was around September, October of 2014.
Okay.
When Ebola outbroke in Dallas. This is the technology they used to eradicate Ebola both at Nina Pham's apartment complex as well as Texas Health Presbyterian.
Wow.
So that's where it got its fame, and it went overnight.
So, okay, so people are learning about this now. So what are some of the things you've got to overcome? You're saving the school on the labor side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge positive. You're allowing them to disinfect in a way they never could before. So what's some of the pushback you see?
The belief. There's been so many technologies out there that they've been shown that are not viable in their segment. We have ultraviolet light technologies. They're very expensive, robots that are being used in healthcare, and they're great. I think they're a great addition to the problem. There's no one solution in the world of disinfection today. We're just another tool in that segment. But probably our biggest barriers are, one, people don't know about it yet. It's still new. Two, could it be that simple? We have an old saying called KISS, and keep it simple. And that's what this technology is. It really is just that simple. Put the disinfectant where it belongs. Let it dwell, meaning give it its dry time, and you will kill that list of pathogens that chemical's been registered to kill. And so really we've got to put the product where it belongs, make sure it gets its dwell time, and that's it. And then the rest of it is just how do we do it more frequently? Are we putting the right stuff on the surfaces? And are we being comprehensive? Yes. Are we being touchless? Yes. And are we being safe? No question. Because we're putting out about 90% less chemical than you would out of a spray bottle. So now we're talking about environmental stewardships and things that really get involved. But our biggest barrier really has been just, could it be that simple? Surely, because they've seen so many things that are not.
Right. So you're here at a PTA event. I assume to educate the moms on what's possible for their kids.
Yeah, this is more about awareness. Yeah, we're here. We know PTAs could gift this and things. This is really not a fundraiser per se, but we wanted the public to know that, hey, guess what? For less than $50 a day, your school could be treating their school every day. And if you can do that, and we're talking about based on a 180-day school year, not 360, so that's a pretty inexpensive cost for that school to improve the kind of attendance that they would, because attendance is, as we know, is a major funding for these school districts.
Right.
And if their average is we've seen research as high as $48 here in Central Texas per child per day, that's a lot of money. We've shown districts where they can save in the tune of about anywhere from some of the larger districts close to $6 million over 3 years by just putting 2 kids in the seat.
So you're not even factoring in labor savings and all that. You're just factoring in more kids in school during the day, more federal funding, and that type of thing.
That's right. Just that right there is overwhelmingly justifies the system. So most of the paybacks are less than 90 days. And so it's quite remarkable. It really is. It has really changed how our school districts are going to be able to disinfect their schools and drive health and create healthier environments. And we're there to help them. We're there to help them with best practices, and we're going to give them the training they need. It's not just hey, here's this great piece of equipment, good luck.
Right.
No, we give them the training and the technology, and we give them the know-how as well.
Awesome.
So
Chris,
it's a partnership.
Thanks for being here, man.
No,
and I
you.
appreciate you taking time to share. Anything else, any last parting thoughts you can think of that you want to make sure folks are aware of?
I think just letting people know that EMIS by far is no question the most cost-effective way to frequently disinfect our schools, and because only surfaces that are more frequently treated, that's the only way we're going to remain touchpoint healthy. And I've got 2 daughters. They both have had staph infections, and I was a parent and still am a parent. And the first thing we want to do is blame our custodians in our schools. But the fact of the matter is they could have gotten it anywhere. But no question that we've got to do more.
Right.
And but we've got to do it smartly. We needed the technology to do it, and what better place to get it from than the farm ag industry, of course.
Awesome. Well, Chris Sides, thanks for being here.
I appreciate it.
Have a safe trip home, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this interview that was recorded live at the 2016 Texas PTA Conference in San Antonio, Texas. If you enjoyed today's episode, we would be honored if you would leave a 5-star rating and review and hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice. I can tell you're a social media butterfly, flitting and flying from site to site, spreading the social information pollen as you go. It's because of your tireless effort that the garden is full of beautiful social flowers like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, Reddit, Tumblr, VK, Flickr, Vine, Meetup, Classmates, and Google+. Why don't you fly over and land on the School Zone Podcast Facebook page too? Follow us and make us a part of your flower garden. Come on, where else can you get current and helpful fundraising news for your school? So fly on over, you beautiful social media butterfly, you.